It's us. We are back. It's me, Efka.
And me, Elaine.
How good is it to hear our voices again? I hope it's good. I'm assuming people are happy to hear our voices again, but
I hear our voices all the time.
I know
so-
I hear my voice like daily, and it could be a little less, Hello, we're back. If you're not familiar with us, if you're listening to this for some reason without knowing who we are the Talk Cardboard podcast, a podcast about board games, done by two people, Elaine and Efka, who also do another thing called No Pun Included, which
But
is
welcome to the podcast.
yeah, welcome to the podcast.
If you haven't listened to it before.
Yeah, which is a YouTube channel about board games as well. Everything's about board games. We just talk about board games.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not into board games, sit down and get into board games. It's important for your health.
And one way they can do that is by listening to us talk about board games.
Yeah, but anyways, this is weird because we've been on hiatus for about half a year. And I kind of wanted to brief people why we've gone off air, why we're coming back on air, and how things are going to work in the future. I guess these three things. So, thing number one, this is a sad thing, and kind of, personally for me, a little difficult to talk about. But let's just persevere through it and then get to the good part. Okay. So, why have we been off air? I've burnt out. I've significantly burnt out, and I'm going to lay out the reasons why. And I hope they come across well, is what I'm saying. So when we started the Talk Cardboard podcast, not the first iteration of this podcast, but as Talk Cardboard, we had this idea that we wanted to treat it as a professional, independent entity from No Pun Included. So again, if you're not familiar with us, or if you're not familiar with the No Pun Included part, that's kind of the main thing that we do, right? It is what people most know us for, and I will be very frank, it is the thing I enjoy doing most. That's not to say that I don't enjoy doing this podcast very much, but I don't.
But you get more satisfaction.
Yeah, I get real satisfaction from making our videos, and I get satisfaction from recording the podcast, but not on the same level, right? And realizing that was kind of hard, especially when you're trying to treat both equally as professionally as you can. And it became very hard work, such that both then started suffering, and I was not happy. And at the end of the day, I know that there are people who are listening to this podcast that don't watch our videos, they just enjoy the podcast. And maybe that will be hard for them to hear, but I kind of want to say, look, for me, the main thing is the videos, right? And it took a long while to learn that. Maybe I think I was trying to put myself in a position that wasn't healthy for me, and so I think it's still important for us to do this podcast because A, it's just fun to do. It's just something we enjoy doing, and it's nice. But B, we also recognize that there's people who really enjoy the podcast and the videos, or just people who enjoy the podcast, and we don't want to stop doing it. But a break had to have happened for us to rethink and reposition ourselves and do it in a way that is actually sustainable, So that's kind of the why.
Yeah, we realised that we needed to do it sustainably or it wouldn't happen at all.
But now, Elaine, let's talk about the how. So tomorrow you will get a new episode of the Talk Cardboard podcast. Yay! It is going to be different, however. So it is going to be different in two ways, structurally, but also in our approach to it. We're going to be a bit more lackadaisical, I think. A little less structured, a bit more carefree, and a bit more... not that it was like the most structured thing in the world to begin with, but it had a system, and it had like a sort of us trying to be a little bit more professional about it. I don't know if we're gonna do that so much anymore, but we are going to approach it from a perspective of like, hey, this is something we do on the side of No Pun Included, and we're gonna have a good time doing it.
I think what we realised is that what we like out of podcasts is the kind of cozy chat with friends type vibe. And when we started to try and put video in it and make it very structured, it took away from that. And we weren't enjoying doing it as much. It was ever such a lot more work. And we want to go back to it being a bit more relaxed.
Yeah. So with that in mind, it's going to be a game per episode. But to make up for that, it's going to be an episode every week. So expect to hear a lot more Talk Cardboard. I guess a lot more frequently from Talk Cardboard.
What about our patrons, Efka?
Well, we still want to do bonus episodes. So we will do a bonus episode every so often. We haven't quite figured out how often. It is either going to be every 2 weeks, which is what we're aiming for. Again, one bonus game that we'll be talking about. Or if that's not sustainable, then monthly. But we'll see. We'll see when we get there. I think the other thing is that we were going through so many games just to play on the podcast. We were just playing games because we needed coverage on the podcast, that it became a lot of games to the point where we were just playing games so we have coverage, not because we were excited about games. And just games. Games became a chore. That's not something you want a board game reviewer feeling, right? And they always had to be new games as well. We never got the chance to return to anything or revisit.
So we're throwing that out the window too.
Yeah, we are. We're going to see. Maybe we'll cover a game twice, 3 times. Who knows? Maybe we'll return to it.
And,
right?
and also games that we've had on our shelves for some time that we have not yet played.
Exactly.
And that we will now play. Because we always thought, well, people won't want to hear about this because it's a year old. But we would like to do
or 5 years old.
5 years. Yeah, well, right. Well, I was being generous. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I have a copy of Forbidden Stars on my shelves that I have not played since we made a review for it, which is one of the early hits of our YouTube channel, which means it's like 10 years old or something like that. And I never dared to get rid of it because it's so out of print, right? So it's stuff like that, right? Just revisiting things that just look fun and exciting and make us want to actually sit down and play a board game, which I think is healthy and important. So tomorrow you will hear our very first episode of the new Talk Cardboard, and with this new approach, I hope you're going to enjoy it just as much as we'll enjoy making them. See you soon.